What's good, YouTube? Before I go on, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. The little subscribe button's right here. Check out my other videos up here. Uh, let's get started. Welcome back to the Ed Zone. So today I'm going to be talking about something that's obviously very important, right? These 2020 election for the next president of the United States. Or should I say selection, because this thing is like a WWE match. They already know who's going to win before the ballots are even counted. The thing is, the Democrats are changing their strategy. What happened was once Obama was president, and when Obama was president, it hurt the Democratic Party because they started shifting more and more to the left. They started adopting more and more extremely liberal policies under Obama, right? That alienated the majority of this country. Most of this country doesn't care if Billy can marry Billy or Susie can marry Susie, or if a guy in a dress wants to use the women's bathroom. Most people don't care about that. But the Democrats made that their cross and their crucifix to die on, which they are going to die on, because they're too fixated on issues that most people don't give a damn about. All right? Especially black people. The policy of benign neglect that was adopted in the 60s, under, Lyndon B. Johnson on all of them, said that never make concrete promises to black people. All right? When Hillary Clinton was running for president in 2016, she distinctly had her aides, and she was quoted as saying, ignore black, don't make any specific promises to them, etc., etc. It has been the policy of all politicians, Republican and Democrat, for over 100 years, but really over the last 50 years, to not make any concrete or specific policies or promises for black people. Democrats have no problem whatsoever outlining specific laws and policies saying, I'm going to enact this law that will do this for Latinos, for gays, for Asians, for white women, etc., etc. But as soon as it comes to black people saying, okay, what about specific policies for us? It's crickets and it's silence. Because Democrats and Republicans are working hand in hand to keep black people as a permanent underclass in this country. That is how this country was founded, and that's how they want to keep it. Now, the good news is that black people do not have to stay a permanent underclass, right? We all know the solution is economic empowerment and finding ways to protect whatever it is that you build. We already know this. This is something I've touched on in previous videos. We know this. The solution is not politics. The solution is not to vote for people who have nothing but disdain, contempt, and disgust for you. All right? Democrats have treated black people like a booty call for the past 50 years, right? Black people were a booty call that Democrats would call every 4 years just to say, hey, come on, let me get up in those juicy votes. You got them big, fat, juicy votes that I like to get all up in. And that's how Democrats would talk to black people every 4 years. And black people would try to play coy like, yeah, okay. What you gonna do for us though? What you gonna do for us? What you gonna do for us though? You gonna take us to dinner? You gonna take us to a movie? You gonna do something for us? Democrats are like, you funny. You know what this is. Democrats will get what they came for, clean themselves up, and leave, only to come back another 4 years. Now black people are demanding a ring, and the Democrats don't want to commit. So the Democrats realize that black people aren't going for their lack of policies anymore. What they're doing now is trying to replace the black vote with a rainbow coalition. So they're trying to see how many gay votes they can get, how many Latino votes they can get, how many white women votes, white men votes. They're trying to take conservative white men they're trying to take them from the Republicans and trying to get more to center. That's why the Democrats chose to go with Joe Biden rather than Bernie Sanders for their nominee, because Bernie Sanders was too socialist and too liberal for the Democrats. They realize they're a dying party. They realize they can't depend on the black vote anymore because black people are finally waking up. So now they're trying to cobble together a mismatch of super liberals from all different groups to try to replace the black vote. Biden is one of the most conservative Democratic senators we've ever seen, and you see it in his record with the 1984 crime bill, the 1994 crime bills that have black people in prison up until this very day for minor drug offenses and other minor crimes. So we see how destructive he's been. We see how destructive his vice presidential candidate's policies have been, Kamala Harris. Her record stinks to high heaven in California. So we see what it is. They're trying to say that they can be the tough on crime party, just like the Democrats tried to do in the 90s. Every now and then the Democrats get too far to the left, and then they move it back to the right to try to get those hard working class white votes. The problem is the Democrats are not open enough. They're not bold enough to say how they really feel. All they can do is show passive aggressive contempt. But they're not bold like Trump. Trump will boldly say and state his white supremacist views. The Democrats aren't bold enough to do that yet. So they'll sneak around it, they'll speak in code, and that's not good enough for the hardcore racists who are going to support Trump. All right? And all these little groups that the Democrats are trying to mash and cobble together to get that win in November is not going to work, because those groups do not vote heavily Democrat like black people have over the past 50 years. Those groups vote a mix of Democrat, Republican, Independent, and other party. That's not going to be enough, because people in those same groups are going to vote Republican in November. Democrats are on a sinking ship and they have no idea how to fix it. All they had to do was respect their most loyal voter base for the past 50 years. Black people have been loyal to the Democrats more than any other group, and have been shitted on more than any other group. All they had to do was respect them. All they had to do was respect black people as a whole. Actually listen and say, okay, we're gonna enact such and such and such a policy for you. Not no blanket statement like police reform and prison reform, because most black people are not criminals. Actual policies that will benefit black people in this country. That's all they had to say. This is what we're gonna do. We're listening to you. We hear you. Here are the specific things we're gonna do. Nah, that's too much work. Let's try to cobble together something at the last minute from a mismatch of people who don't even vote Democrat like that. This is going to be fun to watch in November. That's all I can say. This is going to be fun to watch. And, you know, I look forward to seeing more of the sinking ship. Democrats are too out of touch. And they're done. For more content, subscribe right here. Boom. Subscribe right there. Check out my links in the comments below, in the description, and in the comments below. I have my links to my books, my online store for quality goods. I'm telling you, these goods are popping. They're off the chain. You got to check them out. You're missing out if you don't. Check out my books. They're also popping and off the chain. Check them out in the top comment and the description below. Remember, stay smart, be strong, be well. Peace.